When I first read this story, my immediate reaction was so cute. So without wasting any more time, let's dive right in. Ira always disliked rainy days. To her, they symbolized loneliness, gray skies, wet streets, and an eerie silence that made her feel like she was the only person in the world. Sunny days, on the other hand, represented joy, laughter, and the warmth of companionship. One particularly dreary afternoon, Ira was making her way home from work. The sky had been weeping non-stop for hours, mirroring the sadness she felt deep within. As she hurried along, her old, flimsy umbrella snapped, leaving her soaked and disheartened. She trudged on, defeated, dragging herself toward the bus stop. At that moment, she noticed a girl standing beside her, holding a bright yellow umbrella that seemed to glow amidst the grayness. The girl looked up, revealing a face as radiant as the sun. Her smile was like a ray of sunshine breaking through the clouds. She was casually dressed in jeans and a white hoodie, and her long, luscious brown hair was tied back in a low ponytail. The girl took a step closer and said in a soft, comforting voice, "You're going to catch a cold standing there." Ira looked up, startled by the sudden sound. The girl extended her umbrella further, offering Ira shelter. "Come, stand under it with me," she said, her tone gentle and inviting. Hesitantly, Ira moved closer. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the drumming rain. "I'm Ira," she added softly, wanting to express her gratitude. Tawan, the girl replied with a warm smile. "My name means sunlight. Seems like you needed some today," she said, her eyes twinkling with kindness. Ira managed a weak smile. It was the first one she had felt in what seemed like forever. "It's just that my umbrella broke," she explained, gesturing to the useless piece of plastic at her feet. "Oh," Tawan said, understandingly. "Well, you can stay under my umbrella until we reach the bus stop. Then you can take shelter in the little store over there. It has glass doors so you won't get wet again," she said, pointing to a nearby convenience store. As they walked together, Ira noticed how Tawan's presence brought a sense of ease to her. It was as if all the heaviness that had been pressing down on Ira's chest suddenly lifted. Their steps fell into sync, and Ira found herself matching Tawan's pace naturally. A feeling of camaraderie blossomed within her, something she hadn't experienced in a long time. They stood together at the bus stop, the rhythmic drumming of the rain filling the air. When the bus arrived, Ira hesitated, not wanting the moment to end. Tawan, sensing Ira's reluctance, turned to her and asked, "Are you coming?" Ira realized she didn't want to go home yet. She wanted to spend more time with this girl who had turned a gloomy day into a little less gloom day. "Yeah, sure," she replied with a smile. As they rode the bus, Ira couldn't help but steal glances at Tawan. There was just something about her sunny disposition that drew Ira in. Tawan, too, caught Ira's eye and returned a warm smile, her eyes crinkling at the corners. When they got off the bus, Ira knew she had a choice to make. She could retreat back into her shell or allow herself to be drawn into the lights that Tawan offered. Taking a deep breath, she decided to follow Tawan into the brightly lit convenience store. Inside the store, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the scent of pastries and hot dogs. Tawan turned to Ira and said, "I was thinking we could grab some coffee. Would you like that?" "I'd love that," Ira replied, her heart doing a little flip. Tawan led her to the counter where they ordered 2 cups of hot chocolate. As they sipped their drinks, Ira noticed how content she felt. The warmth of the chocolate spread through her body, chasing away the last vestiges of the cold. "This is nice," she said softly, savoring the sweet taste. "Me too," Tawan agreed. "It's nice not to be alone on a rainy day," she added, her voice dropping to a whisper. Ira understood what she meant. For years, she had dreaded rainy days, seeing them as a reminder of her solitude. But being with Tawan, even in the midst of the rain, had shown her that companionship could be found in the most unexpected places. After finishing their drinks, they stepped back out into the rain. The drops had become heavier now, creating a soothing rhythm on the pavement. Ira pulled her thin jacket tighter around her shoulders, but she didn't feel cold anymore. "So, what are you doing tomorrow?" Tawan asked hesitantly. Ira turned to her, surprised by the question. She hadn't really given it much thought. Usually, she spent her weekends curled up on the couch with a good book and a cup of tea. But with Tawan's sunny disposition still fresh in her mind, she found herself wanting to break her routine. "I was thinking of going to the art gallery downtown," Tawan continued, sensing Ira's hesitation. "There's a new exhibit? I heard it's beautiful." "That sounds lovely," Ira replied, realizing that she desperately wanted to spend another day with Tawan. They exchanged numbers and promised to meet the next day at the gallery. As they parted ways, Tawan turned to Ira and said, "I'll come pick you up around 2, okay?" "Sounds good," Ira replied, watching as Tawan hurried off, her yellow umbrella bobbing up and down with each step. When Ira woke up the next morning, the gray clouds had vanished, replaced by a clear, cloudless sky. As she got ready, she couldn't shake off a feeling of excitement. It was as if the prospect of meeting Tawan had chased away the gloom not only from the weather, but also from her heart. Exactly at 2 o'clock, there was a knock on the door. Ira opened it to find Tawan standing there with a bunch of sunflowers in her hand. The sight of the sunflowers, with their bright yellow petals, brought a smile to Ira's face. It was as if Tawan had taken the sunshine from the sky and bottled it in these flowers. "For you," Tawan said, extending the bouquet. "I know they're a bit over the top, but I couldn't help it. You know, with your name being Ira and all," she said with a playful grin. Ira's heart melted at the gesture. "They're beautiful," she whispered, taking the sunflowers from Tawan. Their stems were still wet from the rain, and Ira could feel the coolness on her fingertips. "So, are you ready to go?" Tawan asked, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. "More than anything," Ira replied, her voice echoing her excitement. As they strolled through the art gallery, hand in hand, the paintings around them seemed to fade into the background. All that mattered was the vibrant splash of color that Tawan brought into Ira's life. They talked about everything and nothing, their conversation flowing as easily as the lines in the paintings. Later, as the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the floor, Tawan leaned closer to Ira. "Ira, these past few days with you have been the best," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "I feel like I've known you forever." Ira's heart skipped a beat. She had felt the same way, as if their friendship, nay, something more, had been destined all along. In the quiet hum of the gallery, surrounded by the beauty of art, Tawan took Ira's hand in hers. Her touch was like a burst of sunlight, warming Ira from the inside out. "I like you, Ira," she said, her eyes shining with honesty. "A lot." Tears welled up in Ira's eyes. In that moment, she realized that Tawan wasn't just a ray of sunshine in her life. She was the sun. "I like you too, Tawan," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. More than words can say. As the final rays of sunlight streamed through the windows, Tawan leaned in and kissed Ira softly. It was a kiss that tasted like the sweet nectar of sunflowers and the warmth of a summer day. From that day forward, Ira's life was filled with the golden glow of Tawan's love. And whenever a rainy day threatened to bring back memories of loneliness, she would look up at the sky and smile, for she knew that Tawan, her sunlight, would always be there to chase away the clouds and fill her heart with sunshine.